Hey ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Adrian here. This is a video that I've been meaning to do for, I can't even count how long now, but it stems from the idea that I get emails, I get questions, I get feedback every day from people I know, people I don't know, complete strangers on the internet, asking me advice regarding, business or aspiring entrepreneurship or their career path or what have you. And I'm humbled and flattered by the fact that people would even consider and value my opinion. And I've always wished to had that I had a resource on which I can kind of just put out there on all the important aspects and lessons that I've learned along the way that I can pass on to others. And this is what this video is, and it's going to be lengthy, spoiler alert, because I'm doing my best to condense the last 10 years of my life, the last decade, and take away the 10 most important lessons that I've learned from, starting a business, from building this kind of career path and ultimately what is my life in the last decade. So whether you're an entrepreneur or not, like if you don't want to run a business, completely fine. I just hope that these lessons can instill or, promote some value in your own situation or scenario and walk of life. So that being said, let's begin by first off going through a really quick timeline for those of you who don't know who the hell I am and why you should even be listening to me. In 2006, I started my YouTube channel when I was 11 years old, making videos on technology because my computer broke, and I was just really passionate about fixing it and then sharing that results with others. 2008, I got YouTube partnership, so Google was paying me for my videos. By 2009, I had sold a couple hundred of my tutorials to a web marketing company, kind of legitimizing the work that I was doing, and I was nearly 13, 14 at the time. Fast forward to 2010, I started a content network by the name of Digital Dojos with some colleagues of mine. That still exists to this date and is one of my businesses, and it's an independent content network focused on technology. ScreenCap in 2015 was the second business that I had started, which originally just started off as a side project. I was making videos for other companies and people who were reaching out to me asking for favors to make videos on their apps and so on and so forth for them. And next thing I knew, a year and a half later, that business tripled its income and quickly became my main focus. That same year, I ended up uprooting my life, leaving Okinawa, Japan, where I was born and raised, and moved to the heart of, entrepreneurship and technology in Silicon Valley, San Francisco. Kind of fast forwarding up to now, I joined a startup when I moved to San Francisco to kind of get a feel and immerse myself in that startup culture. To date, I'm still working part-time with that startup by the name of Eden, and I also maintain and operate my two businesses, and believe it or not, I am working on a third venture that's been in the works for the last year or so. So 10 plus years later from that 11-year-old kid on YouTube, 10 million video views, 4,000 plus videos, 2 companies later, it's been a wild ride. And these are the important lessons I took away from it. Number 1, practicing self-awareness. I think realizing where you are in life and what you want to be is highly important. But to be self-aware, to realize before anyone else, and to always constantly be checking yourself. It's your life that you want to live. You shouldn't live your life predicated on what others want for you. Be honest and be true to yourself, right? For example, when it comes to aspiring entrepreneurs, I always tell them that this isn't for everyone, and that's totally okay. Not everyone's cut out to run a business or be a founder. Be honest with yourself. Take a real look at your life and what you want out of it, and it's okay to have a hobby. It's okay to have a side hustle. It's okay to not rush to become a business. Just because you have a logo or a company name, it doesn't make you a business, right? It's okay to have a 9 to 5 and then hustle from 7 to 10 or what have you. Be self-aware of where you are. I believe in this notion of A, B, C, D, E list players in life, and the quicker you realize which category you fall into, the more you can double down on your strengths and become the best in your space and in what you do. So many people are caught up on being the elite or the A class that they don't realize their own strengths. Number 2, in regards to the future, I remember when I was graduating high school, because I didn't end up going to college, a lot of the question that was being asked is, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And I think it's a wrong question to be asking, especially 18 or 19-year-olds. Rather, the important question to ask yourself, I think, in life always is what are you passionate about and why are you passionate about it? What do you love? What brings you excitement? And to realize that passion alone is not enough, right? You also need to enjoy the journey and the process rather than the end result. Just because you love something, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy in life. But it is important to have that passion towards something, anything, even if it's not your line of work. And realize why you're doing what you're doing. Because I think in life we're so focused on figuring out the how we get to where we want to get that we forget why we do what we do. And I think once you realize the why in life, the how tends to sort itself out. Number 3, the simplest and yet simultaneously hardest thing, I think, in life and in business, I get this all the time for aspiring entrepreneurs, is getting started. It's going from 0 to 1, off to on. When I get people who talk to me about ideas and $1 million, billion-dollar ideas, everyone has ideas. Everyone has these things that they want to do in life or things that they want to create. They're nothing until you go out there and do them, right? The hardest step is always the first step. It's like skydiving, right? All the fear, all the angst is in that plane, and then once you step out, you're committed, you're free falling. And that's how I look at life. That's how I look at business. The hardest step is always the first one. It doesn't mean everything following that is going to be easy. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be hard times, but the hardest step for most people is the first one, because they come up with all these reasons on why they can't do X, Y, or Z. They don't have the time. They don't have the money. They don't have the skill set. They don't have X, on and on and on and on. You just got to learn to take the first step. Take it day by day. Take it step by step from there on out. But it's all about getting started. Number 4, what are you willing to sacrifice to be great? When I think of whatever it is I want to do in life, I don't believe in half-assing. I don't believe in this notion of giving 80%. I always believe in 110%. I don't believe in being good. I want to be great at things. And to be great, I think there are these inherent sacrifices you have to make in life, whether that's time, your resources. Sometimes that means your ego, right? When I moved to San Francisco and I joined that startup that I was talking about earlier, I had to learn to let go of the ego, because up until that point, I was always my own boss. I had been running my own businesses. So to come into and transition into this new role, I had to learn to let go of that ego. You need to realize that you can't be great at all the things, right? You have to sacrifice certain things in certain aspects of life to focus on others, right? It's just how it goes. We all have the same 24 hours. There's no excuse. When I was growing up and dedicated to my business, I told myself I'm willing to live my life this small number of years like not many would, through the stress and sacrificing a lot of my youth and so on and so forth, to ultimately live the rest of my life like not many can, right? I was looking at the big picture, and I was willing to sacrifice a small portion of it for the ultimate outcome. I learned to sacrifice my dreams, because I realized that dreams were these things that I was sleeping on, whereas these goals that I wanted to set were these things that I had to wake up and work towards. So I believe in goals, not dreams. I had to learn to sacrifice that notion and go out there and work for what I wanted. Number 5 kind of goes hand in hand, but you need to realize that opportunities aren't always going to be there. And it's not about opportunities being available. It's about creating them. I don't believe in this notion of luck or being blessed. I believe that I worked hard. I believe in hard work and working smart. And I also understand and realize that that's not always, you can work as hard as you want, and sometimes you still come up short, right? But the idea that opportunities aren't always going to be there. You're not entitled to anything. The world doesn't owe you shit, right? You got to go out there and grab it. If the doors aren't open, then either break them down or find an alternative route. If you want something enough, if it matters to you enough, you make the time. You figure out the way to get to whatever it is that you want to get. Opportunities aren't always going to be there, right? And this notion of luck, if anything, is maybe the closest thing I can say to luck is when something falls in somebody's lap and they learn how to run with it, right? They make the best of the scenario that they have and the cards that are dealt. Number 6, it's never too early or too late to get started. Plain, simple. I don't care if you're young, I don't care if you're old, I don't care if you have a family, I don't care if this, that, or the other, you have a 9 to 5 and you want to start this business on the side. It's never too late or too early to get started. And people need to stop comparing their chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 30, playing this comparison game. We all are amateurs at one point. Everybody who you admire as a professional, everyone who you admire in life has the same set amount of hours and days in the week and days in the year that you do. And they were all amateurs at one point. They were all starting out just like you or me or what have you. So it's never too early or too late to get started. Number 7, the crowd you surround yourself with. This comes in 2 aspects. In business, when I talk about hiring people and what I look for, I hire based on my weaknesses, right? I look for people who make up for what I lack, because there's no point in me focusing on my weaknesses, whereas other people that's their strengths, right? I would rather double down on the strengths and do the things that I love doing when it comes to running my business than focus on these other things that I'm not great at and I probably don't enjoy as much. In terms of personal and in life, I think it's important the crowd you surround yourself with, your friends, the people that you consider like your family away from like the blood family. people who empower you, people who also make up for your weaknesses, people who teach you, people who you can learn from. Different scenarios and walks and avenues of life, we all come from them. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people like that. One of my most proudest accomplishments outside of business is the people that I grew up with, is the people that I call my friends in that inner circle to this date who I keep in touch with. And I think it's very, very important to have those people with you in your life, no matter where you come from or walks of life they may come from. Number 8, the reality of failure. And I say the reality of failure because I hate failure. I despise it. I don't want to ever experience it, though you do, and it's inevitable. In life, in business, I mean, in business alone, 80% of businesses fail in the first year. So it is this true, harsh reality. It's a scary one, don't get me wrong, and failure sucks, but it's one of the best teachers out there. And if anything, it taught me that I don't want to experience it again. But in life, especially when you're going through it, you need to learn from it. It's how you bounce back. It's how you face adversity. After you fail, how do you pick yourself up? How do you rise? How do you have to, especially in business, I tell people all the time, you have to learn to eat shit for a long time, right? Like, you have to be able to go through all of that and come out better because of it. Sometimes failure is disguised, or success is disguised in failure, right? I remember in 2013, I poured all my life savings into this investment. The next couple of years, I thought it was a failure because it was a huge risk, and I thought I messed up. 2017, just recently, that investment bounced back and made me, 100x plus on what I originally put in. But the idea there was that for a long time, I thought I messed up. I thought it was a failure, and I had set myself back. But sometimes you just got to be patient. Sometimes you got to see it from a different perspective. Number 9, the best investment you can make. I know I just talked about that investment in money and all of that, but outside of all of that, the single best investment you can make is in yourself. To date, despite that investment I made in 2013, the best one I made was in 2011. It was a $20 webcam I bought to start my YouTube channel. It was that purchase that got me started in the YouTube space, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And it's because I knew what I wanted to do. I was passionate. I believed in what I was doing. And furthermore, I always think the best bet you can make is on yourself, because you can control that, right? You can control that outlook. You can control that outcome to some degree. I think not just from a financial perspective, but an educational perspective, to always be learning, to always be improving and developing yourself to be a better person in all aspects in life. It is hands down the best investment you can ever make. Invest in yourself, invest in your happiness, invest in your life and the things that you want. Don't let anybody diminish you or don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And last, but certainly not least, number 10, as cliche and simple as it sounds, life is this choice. It's all a choice. What do you want out of it? You want to be successful, you want to be this, you want to be that. When I was growing up and starting this business, when I started making money for myself, I told myself, this is my goal. I want to make $100. I want to make $100,000. I want to make $500. I want to make $1 million. And you hit those goals, right? And you keep on setting higher and higher specs. You want this watch. You want that car. You want that house. You want to go here and travel there. These are all goals, and they're great accomplishments. And don't get me wrong. I believe in those in a sense of like motivation and whatnot, but you need to make this choice what you want out of life beyond those things, beyond the materialistic things, beyond the salary, beyond all of that. What is the bigger picture? What is it that you want out of life? Me personally, I don't believe in like a higher deity or these external forces. I believe we are where we are in this world, and from the moment we come into it to the moment we leave it, it's about doing the best that we can to improve it. I don't believe in an afterlife. I don't believe in this other notion. I just believe that I'm trying to do the best work that I can do while I'm here, and I'm trying to contribute the layer that I can to society so that somebody else can stand on that layer and build the next big thing. I believe we can all play our parts in making the world a better place to whatever degree. And I want to instill as much value through the work that I do as possible to the day I die, whether I'm getting paid for it or not, right? It's the choice that I made, and I'm okay with giving my everything. I'm okay with giving my all and still coming up short, right? Life is this thing that if you say you want to be this, then you can give it your all and still come up short. But it's about those routines. It's about those principles. It's about this work ethic. It's about adapting and picking yourself up despite those things and sticking to your true north, sticking to the thing that you want out of life, and despite all of those things, prevailing anyway. I used to say I did all of this, I achieved all this by myself, but I wouldn't be who I am, in all honesty, if it wasn't for my family, if it wasn't for my friends, if it wasn't for the people who supported that true north and what I wanted out of life. I stood on the shoulders of giants who paved the way for me. It was just this decision. It was almost like this switch that I had to make. This is what I wanted, and this is how I'm going to get it. I will build a legacy. I will build something that lasts beyond me and my business. I'm going to create things to the day I die that contribute in whatever way to making the world a better place. And it's a simple choice that I made, and now I'm committed to. We tell ourselves this notion of like keeping quiet and keeping our goals to ourselves, but when we put them out there, when we speak them into existence, when we put them into the public, it forces us to face them. It forces us to go after them. And again, it's all simply, I think, a choice. So, that all being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that in any aspect you can take some value through whatever it is that you may be doing, whatever it is that you may be pursuing out of life in your career, professionally, personally, what have you. I hope these are guidelines or any sort of lesson that you can take away and help you in your own. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Your support, your views, your comments, your feedbacks are always appreciated and keep me doing what I'm doing for the last 10+ years. And that being said, thanks for watching.